Dilemmas are problems with two possibilities, with both results leading to an undesired outcome. These options are sometimes known as horns, and much like that of a bull with sharp pointy horns, they can be uncomfortable whenever you are faced with them. When applied correctly, one has to choose between the two possible outcomes. However, on the contrary, when applied incorrectly, what you have is called a false dichotomy. This is Euthyphro's Dilemma. Written by Plato around 380 BC, Euthyphro is a dialogue between Socrates and Euthyphro. In this narrative, Euthyphro is taking his father to trial. His father had caught one of their field workers who had gotten drunk and killed a man. While on his way to turn in his father, Euthyphro encounters Socrates, and the dialogue begins. Socrates is curious as to why he's running into Euthyphro at their location, so Euthyphro has to explain the circumstances to him. Socrates then asks Euthyphro, "How did you come to the best conclusion? How do you know that this is the best decision that you can make in this circumstance?" Euthyphro then declares, "Well, I know I'm doing the right thing because it is what the gods command." This is the point where Socrates delivers a blow to Euthyphro's reasoning that is fatal to the moral argument for the existence of God. Is that which the gods command good because they command it? Or do they command it because it is good? At first, the dilemma may not actually jump out at you. In fact, it may seem kind of wordy and complicated, which can easily send some people away. I'll be honest, whenever I first heard it, I didn't really understand it, so I just disregarded it. I heard it mentioned at a debate, and I was like, I don't know what that guy's talking about. So I was like, whatever, and I just went about my business, listening to the other questions. Little did I know how much of an impact this would have on me once I finally understood what the questions meant. I owe a great deal of my understanding of this dilemma to several sources on the internet, including but not limited to Sisyphus Redeemed, The Atheist Experience, RationalWiki.org, and IronChariots.org. I'll include links in the description below so that way you can check them out if you get the time. In my opinion, this is one of the most profound and enlightening lessons I've ever been subjected to in philosophy. Let me explain why Euthyphro's Dilemma leaves us with two possibilities for morality. Either the gods are in control of morality, which has the consequence of morality based on authority, or the gods are not in control of morality, which leads to the gods being unnecessary when it comes to morality, and also the possibility that something or someone may be presiding over those gods. The responses from apologists usually try to put God as either one, the author of morality, while simultaneously having restrictions on this God that keeps the God from doing things that you and I would consider to be wrong. The God cannot do evil. Or two, by setting the God itself as the absolute standard of morality. So with that said, let's get started in our critique. We're presented with two horns. The first one is that which the gods command good because they command it? And the second horn is, do the gods command it because it is good? Let's examine the first horn. Is that which the gods command good because they command it? What this is basically saying is this good just because the God says so? If so, then this morality is based off an authority, which will lead to divine command theory, which says any and all things that God commands to be good are good because the God said so. This is dangerous because if the God in question were to declare something such as slavery or genocide or greed to be good, then it would immediately become good because the God said so. Now, there is a traditional rebuttal to this that apologists tend to use that deals with the nature of God. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the other horn. The second horn is, do the gods command it because it is good? In this scenario, the gods are independent of good, meaning they are merely messengers relaying this information to us. This makes the gods unnecessary because we can merely cut the middleman and go directly to knowing what is good. Apologists don't really like this second horn because their desires are such that they want a God to be the author of morality. But not just any God, they want their God to be the author of morality. Alright, we got two options. The first one is good is that which the gods proclaim, divine command theory. The second option is that good exists separate from the gods, and thus the gods are unnecessary. Let's check out that traditional apologetic rebuttal that I mentioned earlier. Now, I've seen this played as both a third horn, which would turn the dilemma into a trilemma, or it can be seen as just an extension of the first horn. Divine nature theory is the only name that I've seen given to this option, so let's jump right in. Apologists will say that the gods can only command that which is good due to their nature. That is, they will not command anything such as slavery or genocide to be good because they must remain true to their nature, which is unchanging and always good. This solution does not actually solve the dilemma. While it does describe how the gods must behave according to their nature, it does not enlighten us as to the origin of the nature. So now we have to ask the next question. Where did the nature of the gods come from? This causes two more horns to arise. In this sense, the apologists have essentially jumped up to the next rung on the ladder, so we're just going to follow right along with them. If the God is in control, or self-creating of its own nature, then that nature is based off of that God's authority once again. And so we're again hit with divine command theory. However, if the God does not choose its nature, then whatever imposed that nature upon the God is the true source of morality. And in that case, the God again is just the middleman and is rendered unnecessary. Now, there are variations of this exact same horn. The difference is they substitute in a different attribute or quality of the God as opposed to its nature. The gods can only command that which is good because they are just, loving, kind, etc. The gods can only command that which is good due to their nature, their character, their essence, their righteousness. And just as before, you just reapply the dilemma and you ask for the origin of those characteristics. Now, although I've used the word God and gods, this dilemma can and should be applied to any sentient being that is either claimed to be creating morality or showcasing morality. And finally, some apologists may say that neither horn's correct, that the gods are one and the same as good, that these properties are essential to being God. For instance, William Lane Craig says that the properties of God are essential to him, where there is no possible world where God could have existed and lacked that property. This, however, is the same horn as the nature of the gods horn. We just simply ask, did the gods make these characteristics essential to themselves? Did they apply these restrictions to themselves? If yes, the gods have chosen them, and then again, divine command theory. If no, then whatever placed these requirements on those gods, that is the true source of morality, and once again, we just cut out the middleman. In conclusion, Euthyphro's Dilemma forces us to reconsider the moral argument for the existence of God. When confronted with the stories of the Christian God to massacre the Canaanites and the Christian God's sanctioning of slavery, we have to ask ourselves, even if the Christian God declared these actions to be good, should we accept that assertion of authority? Or should we, as participants in the system, go by our best judgments that are founded on maximizing well-being, minimizing pain and suffering, while at the same time recognizing and respecting individual rights? And that's pretty much my take on it. Could I have explained something better? What was good? What was bad? Check out the links in the description below, and if you like this content, then feel free to share it, rate it, and subscribe. And I will see you next time.